Hello, my name is George. I am a student of English. This is my story. I want to tell you about my life in Paris. I want to tell you about my exciting teacher. You can read my story. You can learn English with me. It is a beautiful spring day, and I am walking by the Seine River. I see a man sitting on a bench. I don't know him, but he looks friendly. I hear him talking on the phone in English. I don't understand much of what he is saying, but I know he speaks English fluently. I also want to speak English, but I am a beginner. I don't know many words. However, this is an opportunity for me to speak English. I decide to try to talk to the man. I say some sentences in my basic English, and he understands what I say. I don't know many words and I speak slowly, but the man is kind and patient. I am able to have a simple conversation with him. I tell him that I want to learn English. He is happy to hear that, and he tells me that he is from the United States. He is visiting Paris for a vacation. We speak for about 10 minutes. Then it's time for me to go home. While I am thanking him for talking with me, he gives me his email address. He tells me I can write to him in English if I want to practice, and then we say goodbye. This is how my journey in learning English begins. After this meeting, I decide to work on my English skills more. I translate texts and I watch movies in English. I work on my English for 2 hours almost every day. In 6 months, I am able to speak quite well. It is great, but I want to know more. I decide to go to Paris to study English at a language school there. I really look forward to my first lesson. The lesson is on Monday. On my first day at school, I meet my teacher and the other students in the class. My teacher is a young man. He is very nice. He asks everybody to introduce themselves and say where they are from. Then the lesson starts. Our teacher asks us how we studied English before and what we suppose is the best method to learn English. I tell my teacher that I like translating songs and other texts, but I don't know what the best method to learn English is. Our teacher says that he will teach us a very effective method, which is based on using the language. Our teacher tells us that we will not have to study and we will not use textbooks. We will immerse ourselves in the language. It is great for me since I don't like studying and I don't like textbooks. Then we speak about what we should focus on when we learn a new language. Our teacher tells us we need languages for communication. Languages help us say ideas and understand ideas. So when you learn a new language, the best way to learn is to use it for exchanging ideas. This is what we will do in our course. Most of the time we will speak. You spoke a lot when you learned your native language as a child, and you should speak a lot when you learn English as an adult. Unfortunately, many students spend a lot of time memorizing new words or learning grammar rules. They don't use English for speaking. They study about the language, but they don't use it very much. Of course, you need to learn new words and new grammar, but you don't actually have to study them. During this course, I will show you a very simple and effective way on how to learn new words and grammar. I like what our teacher says. Our lesson continues. We speak about our hobbies and what we do in our free time. We speak in pairs or with our teacher. It is great, and we speak for the entire lesson. I enjoy it so much. I have never spoken so much English during one lesson in my life. I have never learned this way before. I am happy and I look forward to the next lesson. I go to school on Tuesday again. One of the students asks a question that is interesting for me. She asks, "What is the best way to learn new words?" Our teacher says, there are many things you can do to learn new words. I will tell you what is statistically the most effective way for learning new words. It is reading. When people read when they learn a new language, they learn twice as fast as people who don't read. It is good to read for at least 30 minutes every day. I want to show you what you should do if you want to get the maximum gains from reading. First, it is very important that the book or text which you read is interesting for you. It is important that you enjoy reading. The book can be a nice story, or it can have some useful information for your job or your hobby. Don't read a text that isn't interesting for you. It is also good to read a text in which you know most of the words. When you don't know many words, you can get frustrated. You always want to enjoy everything you do while using English. It is good to choose a text which is interesting and also suitable for your level. When you read the text and you see a word that you don't understand, you get a dictionary and you look up the word, then you continue reading. You don't have to write the word anywhere. You don't have to make a list of new words. You don't have to try to remember the word. You only focus on understanding the text. When it is clear to you what the word means, you continue reading. Anytime there is a new word for you, you do the same. Reading also has another great advantage. When you read, you learn new words and you also learn how every word is connected to other words in the sentence. Then you can see how to link the words correctly. This way of learning new words is very effective. Give it a try and you will see how fast you can learn new words. Then we continue with the lesson. We speak about the situation in France and about the best jobs for students. This is good for me because I want to have a job. I want to do something after my class. I ask other students if they know where I can find a job. They tell me that I should go to a job center. The job center offers a lot of jobs for students. This is good for me, and I am happy that I know where I can find a job. When my day at school is finished, I go to the job center. I don't know what jobs I can do, so I ask the lady at the job center what the best job for a student is. The lady tells me that they have some good jobs for students. She tells me that I can be a barista or a server in a cafe. I tell the lady I have no experience doing these jobs. She tells me that my English is good enough to work at the cafe. The training is not difficult and I can have more chances to speak English than being a cleaner. She tells me that I can start my job on Thursday. It is all good for me. I'm happy that I have a job where I can practice English. On Wednesday, I go to school again. There is one student in the class who is quieter than the other students. He is from Japan. When our teacher asks if we have any questions for her, this student from Japan says that he has a question. He says that he has a big problem with pronunciation. He knows that his pronunciation is not very good, but he doesn't know how to improve it. He doesn't speak much because he doesn't want others to listen to his bad pronunciation. He says that he reads and watches films in English a lot. He understands very well, but he also wants to improve his speaking. He asks if there is something he could do to improve his pronunciation. When my teacher hears this, she says, "Okay, I will tell you something about pronunciation and how to practice it. I will also teach you a great technique that can help all of you to be better at pronunciation. First, we have to look at why students have problems with pronunciation. When we speak, we have to move our mouth. We have to use muscles in our mouth. We all do that. The problem is that when you speak English, sometimes you use your muscles the same way you would use them in your native language. Then your pronunciation is different from the pronunciation of native speakers. This happens to many students who learn English. Almost everybody has a bit different pronunciation than they should have. In fact, it is not a big problem because usually people understand what you want to say, even though your pronunciation is not perfect. However, you can work on your pronunciation and make it better. There is a great technique that can help you a lot. The name of this technique is shadowing. The technique is very simple. When you do shadowing, You simply copy the sound that you hear immediately after hearing it. When children learn their first language, they learn it by copying. They copy after their parents again and again until their pronunciation is perfect. You can learn English pronunciation in the same way. This is what you can do. Take some video or audio recording that is not very fast and that you understand very well. You listen and you copy what you hear when you hear it. That is all. Then our teacher goes to www.youtube.com and she searches for the shadowing technique. She finds a good video where the shadowing technique is well demonstrated. We watch the video, then we all try to do shadowing for about 3 minutes. Then our teacher tells us, shadowing is also good when you are preparing for a presentation or a speech. You can find a video or audio related to your topic and practice shadowing. It will help you improve your pronunciation and also get more comfortable speaking. If you practice shadowing every day, even for just a few minutes, you will notice a big improvement in your pronunciation over time. I think this is great advice. I decide to try shadowing when I watch English videos at home. After the lesson, I thank my teacher and go home to practice. Thursday is my first day at my new job in a cafe. I am excited, but also a little nervous. I meet my boss, Mr. Martin, who is very kind and explains everything to me. I will be a server, taking orders and bringing food and drinks to the customers. I think this is a great opportunity to practice my English. At first, it is a bit difficult to understand everything the customers say, especially when they speak quickly. But I try my best and ask them to speak slowly if I don't understand. Most of the customers are very patient and happy to help me. As the day goes on, I get more comfortable and start to enjoy my job. In the evening, I feel tired but happy. I think that working in the cafe will really help me improve my English. On Friday, I go to school and meet my friends from the English class. We have a fun lesson where we talk about our favorite movies and books. After the lesson, I ask some of my classmates if they want to go for a coffee with me. They agree, and we go to a nearby cafe. We talk about our experiences in Paris and share tips on learning English. I find out that two of my classmates, Anna and Roberto, also work part-time in cafes. We laugh and share stories about our jobs. It is nice to have friends who understand what it is like to learn a new language and live in a foreign country. We decide to meet every Friday after class to practice English together and have fun. I am happy to have new friends and look forward to our meetings. The following weeks are very busy. I go to school every morning and work in the cafe in the afternoons. I also meet my friends on Fridays to practice English. I feel that my English is improving every day. I understand more when people speak to me, and I am getting better at expressing my thoughts. One day our teacher gives us a special assignment. She asks us to prepare a short presentation about our hometowns. I choose to talk about Paris, the city I love. I spend a lot of time preparing my presentation. I write down what I want to say and practice it several times. I also use the shadowing technique to improve my pronunciation. When the day of the presentation comes, I feel nervous, but I am also excited to share my story. I talk about the beautiful places in Paris, like the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre Museum. I also mention the small cafes and bakeries that I love. My classmates listen carefully, and after my presentation, they ask me questions. I am able to answer all their questions in English, and I feel proud of myself. Our teacher says that I did a great job and that my English has improved a lot. I am happy to hear that my hard work is paying off. As the months pass, I continue to learn and grow. I enjoy my classes, my job, and my time with friends. My English is getting better every day, and I feel more confident speaking it. I remember the day I met the man by the Seine River. That simple conversation changed my life and set me on a path to learning English. Now I can speak English well, and I have made many friends from different countries. I am grateful for all the opportunities I have had and the people who have helped me along the way. I look forward to continuing my journey, learning more, and experiencing new adventures in this beautiful city of Paris. Learning English has opened many doors for me, and I can't wait to see where it will take me next. One day, while browsing online, I come across a local language exchange group. The group meets every Friday evening at a nearby cafe to practice different languages. I think this could be a great opportunity to practice my English with native speakers and other learners. I decide to join the next meeting. When I arrive, the cafe is bustling with people chatting in various languages. I introduce myself to the group leader, a friendly man named David. He welcomes me and explains how the group works. We pair up with different partners throughout the evening to practice speaking. My first partner is a woman named Lisa. She is a native English speaker from the United States who is learning French. We agree to speak English for half of our conversation and then switch to French. At first I am nervous, but Lisa is patient and encouraging. We talk about our hobbies, our favorite places in Paris, and our reasons for learning new languages. As the evening progresses, I meet more people and practice speaking with them. Each conversation boosts my confidence. I realize that speaking with native speakers helps me improve my pronunciation and learn new expressions. By the end of the evening, I feel more comfortable and motivated to continue attending these meetings. During the weekends, I continue to explore Paris with my friends. We visit Montmartre, a historic district known for its artistic vibe. We climb the steep streets and enjoy the stunning view from the top of the hill. We visit the Sacré-Cœur Basilica and marvel at its beauty. Montmartre is filled with artists painting and selling their work, and we spend hours wandering through the charming streets and absorbing the atmosphere. Another weekend, we take a trip to the Palace of Versailles. The palace is magnificent, with its opulent rooms and vast gardens. We join a guided tour in English, which helps us learn about the history and significance of the palace. Walking through the Hall of Mirrors and the beautiful gardens, I feel like I am stepping back in time. We also explore the Latin Quarter, known for its vibrant student life and historic sites. We visit the Pantheon, where many famous French figures are buried, and the beautiful Luxembourg Gardens. The Latin Quarter is filled with bookstores, cafes, and lively streets. It's a perfect place to practice my English while enjoying the rich culture of Paris. As my English improves, I start to feel more confident about looking for a better job. Working at the cafe has been a great experience, but I want to find something that will allow me to use my English skills more. I update my CV and start applying for jobs where I can use English. After a few weeks of searching, I get an interview at a small international company. They are looking for a customer service representative who can speak both English and French. I prepare for the interview by practicing common interview questions with my friends from the English class. When the interview day arrives, I am nervous but ready. I meet with the hiring manager, a woman named Sophie. She conducts the interview in both English and French, and I am able to answer her questions confidently. A few days later, I receive a call from Sophie. She offers me the job. I am thrilled and accept the offer immediately. This new job is a big step forward for me, and I am excited to start. On my first day at the new job, I am both excited and nervous. The office is located in a modern building in the business district of Paris. When I arrive, Sophie greets me and introduces me to my new colleagues. Everyone is friendly and welcoming. Sophie gives me a tour of the office and explains my responsibilities. My job involves answering customer inquiries, helping with orders, and providing support in both English and French. I will be working with a small team of international colleagues, which means I will have many opportunities to practice my English. Throughout the day, I get to know my new coworkers. I meet John from the UK, Maria from Spain, and Ahmed from Egypt. We all speak English together, and it feels great to be part of such a diverse team. By the end of the day, I feel more comfortable and confident in my new role. As part of my effort to improve my English, I decide to join an English book club. I find a local club that meets once a month to discuss a book chosen by the members. The club is open to both native speakers and English learners. At the first meeting, I meet the other members of the club. There are about 10 of us, and everyone is very welcoming. We sit in a circle at a cozy cafe, and the discussion begins. This month's book is a novel by Jane Austen. I have read the book in preparation for the meeting and taken notes on the parts I found interesting. The discussion is lively and engaging. Everyone shares their thoughts and interpretations of the book. I am a bit shy at first, but as the conversation progresses, I start to participate more. The other members are supportive and encourage me to share my ideas. It's a wonderful way to practice speaking English and to learn from others. Paris is a city full of cultural events, and I take advantage of every opportunity to immerse myself in English-speaking activities. I attend English language theater performances, film screenings, and lectures. These events are not only entertaining, but also great for improving my listening skills. One evening, I attend a lecture at the American Library in Paris. The lecture is given by an author who writes in English, and it's fascinating to hear about her experiences and insights. After the lecture, there is a Q&A session, and I muster the courage to ask a question. It feels great to be part of the conversation and to practice my English in a real-life setting. As I continue my journey of learning English, I make friends from all over the world. My English class, the language exchange group, and my job introduced me to people from different countries and cultures. We share our experiences, learn from each other, and support one another. One of my closest friends is Anna from Poland. We often study together, help each other with English, and explore Paris. We visit museums, go to language exchange events, and even travel to nearby cities on weekends. Our friendship enriches my experience and makes my time in Paris even more enjoyable. After attending several language exchange meetings, I decide to host my own event. I talk to David, the group leader, and he supports the idea. We choose a date and a venue, and I start planning. On the day of the event, I am both excited and nervous. I have invited people from my English class, my colleagues, and other friends I have made in Paris. When the event starts, the cafe fills with people speaking different languages and having fun. I lead the group through a few icebreaker activities to help everyone get to know each other. We then split into pairs and small groups to practice speaking. The evening is a huge success. Everyone enjoys the event, and I feel proud of myself for organizing it. My journey of learning English continues, and I am always looking for new ways to improve. I take an advanced English class, participate in workshops, and practice speaking every day. I set new goals for myself, such as giving a presentation in English and writing a short story. One day, our teacher gives us a creative writing assignment. We have to write a short story in English. I decide to write about my experiences in Paris and my journey of learning English. Writing the story is challenging, but rewarding. It helps me reflect on my progress and see how much I have grown. At my new job, I am asked to give a presentation in English about our customer service strategies. This is a big challenge for me, but I see it as a great opportunity to practice my English and improve my public speaking skills. I prepare thoroughly for the presentation. I write my speech, create slides, and practice in front of a mirror. I also ask my friends from the English class to listen to my presentation and give me feedback. When the day of the presentation arrives, I feel nervous but prepared. I stand in front of my colleagues and begin to speak. As I go through my slides, I focus on speaking clearly and confidently. To my relief, the presentation goes well. My colleagues applaud, and Sophie tells me I did a great job. As I look back on my journey of learning English in Paris, I feel a sense of accomplishment and pride. I have worked hard, faced challenges, and made significant progress. I have met wonderful people, made lasting friendships, and created unforgettable memories. Learning English has opened many doors for me. It has improved my job prospects, enriched my cultural experiences, and allowed me to connect with people from different backgrounds. My journey is far from over, and I am excited to continue improving and exploring new opportunities. With my newfound confidence and skills, I decide to set new goals for myself. I want to become fluent in English, travel to English-speaking countries, and maybe even start learning another language. I also want to continue exploring Paris and make the most of my time here. I create a plan to achieve my goals. I will continue taking advanced English classes, participate in language exchange events, and practice speaking every day. I also plan to read more English books, watch English movies, and listen to English podcasts. One of my biggest goals is to visit an English-speaking country. After saving up some money, I decide to take a trip to England. I plan to spend a week in London, exploring the city and practicing my English. When I arrive in London, I am amazed by the vibrant atmosphere and the rich history. I visit famous landmarks. Hello, my name is Jordan. I am from Brazil, a country known for its beautiful beaches, vibrant culture, and friendly people. Growing up, I always dreamed of traveling the world and making friends from different countries. I realized that to achieve this dream, I needed to learn English. English is spoken in many countries, and it would help me communicate with people from various cultures. In Brazil, we primarily speak Portuguese, and I didn't have many opportunities to practice English. However, I was determined to learn. I knew that learning English would open up many possibilities for me. For example, I could travel to English-speaking countries and understand the people and their culture better. I could also make new friends from different parts of the world. Additionally, learning English would help me in my career. Many international companies require employees who can speak English. By learning English, I would have better job opportunities and could work with people from different countries. This was very exciting for me, as I wanted to grow professionally and personally. So with excitement and a bit of nervousness, I embarked on my journey to learn English. At first, I didn't know many English words. It was hard to understand people, and I often felt lost and frustrated. Every time someone spoke to me in English, I struggled to grasp even the simplest phrases. I remember my first encounter with an English speaker. They asked me for directions, and I could only manage a confused smile. This made me realize how much I needed to learn. My journey began with the very basics. I started with simple words and phrases. Words like hello, thank you, and goodbye were my first steps. I repeated these words daily until they felt natural. I also learned numbers, colors, and common objects around me. This foundational vocabulary was essential. To help me remember new words, I carried a small notebook wherever I went. In this notebook, I wrote down every new English word I encountered. At the end of each day, I reviewed my notes, making sure to practice the pronunciation and usage of each word. This practice became a daily ritual that greatly improved my vocabulary. I also labeled objects in my house with their English names. This simple trick helped reinforce my learning. Every time I opened the refrigerator, I saw the word refrigerator stuck to the door. The same was true for other items like table, chair, and window. By constantly seeing these words in context, I began to remember them more easily. Listening to English was another challenge. Initially, English sounded like a fast, incomprehensible stream of sounds. I couldn't distinguish where one word ended and another began. To improve my listening skills, I started listening to English music. I chose simple, catchy songs and tried to sing along, even if I didn't understand all the words at first. This not only made learning fun, but also helped me get used to the rhythm and sounds of the language. I also watched English movies and TV shows with subtitles. At first, I relied heavily on the subtitles to understand the dialogue. I would pause frequently to look up words I didn't know. Over time, I began to recognize more words and phrases without needing to read the subtitles. This gradual improvement was encouraging and kept me motivated. Practicing speaking was perhaps the most intimidating part of my journey. I felt self-conscious about my accent and worried about making mistakes. To overcome this, I started practicing speaking English alone. I would describe my day, talk about my plans, or even pretend to have conversations. This helped me get used to forming sentences and speaking out loud. Eventually, I mustered the courage to practice with others. I joined a local language exchange group where people from different backgrounds came together to practice languages. Here I met native English speakers and fellow learners. We took turns speaking in English in our native languages. The supportive environment made me feel more comfortable and less afraid of making mistakes. I also found online language partners through websites and apps, and we scheduled regular video calls where we practiced speaking English together. This allowed me to interact with people from different parts of the world, exposing me to various accents and dialects. These conversations were immensely valuable in improving my fluency and confidence. Reading was another important aspect of my learning process. I started with children's books and simple stories. These books used basic vocabulary and short sentences, making them perfect for beginners. As my reading skills improved, I moved on to more complex texts. I read articles, short stories, and eventually novels. Reading not only expanded my vocabulary, but also helped me understand sentence structure and grammar. Writing was equally important. I kept a journal where I wrote daily entries in English. I wrote about my thoughts, experiences, and anything interesting that happened during the day. Writing regularly helped me practice forming sentences and expressing my ideas in English. I also used online forums and social media to connect with English speakers and participate in discussions. One of the biggest challenges I faced was grammar. English grammar can be tricky with many rules and exceptions. To tackle this, I use grammar books and online resources. I practiced different grammar exercises and paid close attention to the structure of sentences in the books I read and the shows I watched. Over time, my understanding of grammar improved, and I felt more confident in using English correctly. Another significant hurdle was pronunciation. English has many sounds that don't exist in Portuguese, my native language. To improve my pronunciation, I listened to native speakers and mimicked their speech. I used language learning apps with speech recognition features to get feedback on my pronunciation. I also practiced tongue twisters and specific sounds that were difficult for me. Gradually, my pronunciation improved, and I started speaking more clearly. Throughout my journey, I set small, achievable goals to keep myself motivated. I celebrated each milestone, whether it was learning a new set of vocabulary words, completing a language course, or successfully having a conversation in English. These achievements, no matter how small, boosted my confidence and kept me going. Support from friends and family also played a crucial role. They encouraged me and celebrated my progress. Some of my friends were also learning English, and we formed a study group to practice together. Sharing this journey with others made it more enjoyable and less daunting. In addition to formal learning methods, I immersed myself in the language as much as possible. I changed the language settings on my phone and computer to English. I followed English-speaking influencers on social media and joined English-speaking communities online. This constant exposure to the language helped reinforce what I was learning and made English a part of my daily life. Looking back, my journey to learn English was filled with challenges and triumphs. It required patience, persistence, and a lot of practice. But every step I took brought me closer to my goal. Today I can communicate confidently in English, and it has opened up many opportunities for me. I can travel, make new friends, and even advance in my career. Learning English has been a rewarding and transformative experience, and I am proud of the progress I have made. My journey is far from over. Language learning is a continuous process, and there is always more to learn. I continue to practice and find new ways to improve my skills. I hope my story inspires others to embark on their own language learning journey and discover the many benefits of speaking a new language. To improve my English, I used a variety of methods that suited my learning style and kept me engaged. One of the first steps I took was enrolling in English classes at a local language school. These classes provided a structured learning environment where I could learn grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation from experienced teachers. The classes were interactive, allowing me to practice speaking and listening with other students. This face-to-face interaction was invaluable in building my confidence and fluency. In addition to attending classes, I supplemented my learning with online resources. I discovered several language learning apps that were both fun and effective. Duolingo and Babbel were my favorites. These apps turned language learning into a game with levels to complete and rewards to earn. They covered a wide range of topics, from basic vocabulary to complex grammar rules. The bite-sized lessons made it easy to practice a little each day, which helped reinforce my learning. Another key part of my learning method was immersing myself in English media. I started watching English videos on YouTube, focusing on channels that offered language learning content. These videos ranged from grammar tutorials to conversational practice sessions. They were incredibly helpful in understanding how English is used in everyday situations. I would often pause the videos to take notes or repeat phrases to practice my pronunciation. Listening to English songs became one of my favorite activities. Music has a way of making language learning enjoyable and memorable. I chose songs with clear lyrics and repeated them until I could sing along. This not only improved my listening skills, but also helped me pick up new vocabulary and phrases. I found that the rhythm and melody of songs made it easier to remember the words and their meanings. I also made use of podcasts and audiobooks. These resources were great for improving my listening comprehension and exposing me to different accents and speaking styles. I would listen to them during my commute or while doing chores, turning otherwise idle time into valuable learning moments. Reading was another crucial aspect of my learning journey. I started with simple books and gradually moved on to more complex texts. Children's books were particularly helpful at the beginning because they used basic vocabulary and simple sentence structures. As my reading skills improved, I explored articles, short stories, and eventually novels. Reading not only expanded my vocabulary but also helped me understand the nuances of English grammar and syntax. Writing in English was something I practiced regularly. I kept a journal where I wrote about my day, my thoughts, and my experiences. This daily writing exercise helped me become more comfortable with forming sentences and expressing my ideas in English. I also participated in online forums and social media groups where I could write and interact with other English speakers. This real-world practice was invaluable in improving my writing skills. Practicing speaking was perhaps the most challenging, but also the most rewarding part of my learning methods. I joined a local language exchange group where I could practice speaking with native English speakers and other learners. These sessions were relaxed and supportive, providing a safe space to make mistakes and learn from them. Additionally, I found language partners online through websites and apps. We scheduled regular video calls to practice speaking, which helped me improve my fluency and confidence. To work on my pronunciation, I used resources like pronunciation guides and speech recognition features in language learning apps. I would listen to native speakers and try to mimic their speech. This helped me get used to the sounds and intonation patterns of English. Practicing tongue twisters and focusing on difficult sounds also contributed to my progress in speaking clearly. One of the techniques that really helped me was shadowing. I would listen to a short audio clip in English and then try to repeat it exactly as I heard it. This exercise was great for improving my listening and speaking skills simultaneously. It forced me to pay close attention to the pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation of the language. Grammar was another area I focused on. Understanding English grammar rules was essential for constructing correct sentences. I used grammar books and online exercises to practice different aspects of grammar, from verb tenses to sentence structure. I also paid close attention to the grammar used in the books I read and the shows I watched. Over time, this helped me internalize the rules and apply them more naturally when speaking and writing. To keep myself motivated, I set small, achievable goals. These goals could be anything from learning a new set of vocabulary words to completing a language course. Celebrating each milestone, no matter how small, kept me motivated and gave me a sense of accomplishment. For example, one of my early goals was to be able to order food in English at a restaurant. When I achieved this, it was a significant boost to my confidence. In addition to these methods, I immersed myself in the language as much as possible. I changed the language settings on my phone and computer to English. This constant exposure to the language in my daily life helped reinforce what I was learning. I also followed English-speaking influencers on social media and joined English-speaking communities online. This immersion strategy made English a part of my everyday environment and accelerated my learning process. Overall, my approach to learning English was multifaceted and dynamic. By combining traditional classroom learning with modern technology and immersive practices, I was able to improve my skills effectively. Each method had its own benefits and contributed to my overall progress. This diverse approach kept me engaged and made the learning process enjoyable. As I continue my journey, I look forward to discovering even more ways to enhance my English proficiency. Every day, I dedicated time to practicing English. Consistency was key to my progress, and I found various ways to incorporate English into my daily routine. One of the most effective practices was speaking English as often as possible. I started by having simple conversations with my friends who were also learning English. We would greet each other, discuss our plans for the day, and share our thoughts, all in English. This not only helped me get used to speaking the language, but also made me more comfortable with making mistakes and learning from them. To challenge myself further, I began watching movies and TV shows in English without subtitles. At first, it was difficult to catch every word, but gradually my listening skills improved. I learned to understand context and pick up on key phrases. Watching different genres helped me familiarize myself with various accents and slang. I often paused the movies to repeat dialogues and practice pronunciation. Reading English books became another daily habit. I started with children's books and short stories, which were easier to understand and had simpler vocabulary. As my reading skills improved, I moved on to more complex novels and nonfiction books. Reading not only expanded my vocabulary, but also helped me understand sentence structure and grammar in a natural context. I kept a notebook to jot down new words and their meanings, and I would review them regularly. I also practiced writing in English every day. I kept a journal where I wrote about my day, my thoughts, and my experiences. This exercise helped me practice forming sentences and expressing my ideas in English. Writing regularly improved my grammar and spelling, and it was a great way to track my progress over time. To further enhance my speaking skills, I joined online language exchange platforms where I could practice speaking with native English speakers. These conversations were invaluable as they exposed me to different dialects and speaking styles. I scheduled regular video calls with my language partners where we would discuss various topics from daily life to current events. These interactions helped me gain confidence and fluency in speaking English. Listening to English podcasts and audiobooks also became part of my daily routine. I chose topics that interested me, which made the learning process enjoyable. Listening to native speakers talk about subjects I was passionate about helped me stay engaged and motivated. It also improved my listening comprehension and exposed me to new vocabulary and expressions. Another effective practice was participating in online forums and social media groups where people communicated in English. Engaging in discussions on these platforms allowed me to practice writing and interacting with others in a real-world context. I could ask questions, share my opinions, and learn from others' responses. This not only improved my writing skills, but also helped me understand different perspectives and cultural nuances. To improve my pronunciation, I use language learning apps with speech recognition features. These apps provided instant feedback on my pronunciation, helping me identify areas that needed improvement. I also practiced tongue twisters and focused on difficult sounds that were challenging for me. Over time, my pronunciation became clearer and more accurate. One technique that greatly benefited me was shadowing. I would listen to a short audio clip in English and then try to repeat it exactly as I heard it. This exercise helped me improve my listening and speaking skills simultaneously. It forced me to pay close attention to the pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation of the language. Shadowing was particularly useful for learning the natural flow of conversation and improving my overall fluency. To stay motivated, I set specific, achievable goals. For example, I aim to have a 5-minute conversation in English without switching to my native language or to read a book in English within a certain time frame. Achieving these goals gave me a sense of accomplishment and kept me motivated to continue learning. Support from friends and family was also crucial. They encouraged me and celebrated my progress. Some of my friends were also learning English, and we formed a study group to practice together. We would meet regularly to practice speaking, share resources, and help each other with difficult concepts. Having a supportive network made the learning process more enjoyable and less daunting. Immersing myself in the language was another important aspect of my practice. I changed the language settings on my phone and computer to English. This constant exposure to the language in my daily life helped reinforce what I was learning. I also followed English-speaking influencers on social media and joined English-speaking communities online. This immersion strategy made English a part of my everyday environment and accelerated my learning process. Overall, consistent practice was the foundation of my progress in learning English. By incorporating the language into my daily life through speaking, listening, reading, and writing, I was able to improve my skills effectively. Each practice method complemented the others, creating a comprehensive learning experience. As I continue my journey, I remain committed to practicing regularly and finding new ways to enhance my English proficiency. Throughout my journey to learn English, I faced many challenges that tested my patience and determination. One of the biggest hurdles was dealing with mistakes and the embarrassment that often came with them. I remember times when I would say something incorrectly and feel shy and self-conscious. It was easy to get discouraged and think that I would never be able to speak English fluently. However, I knew that making mistakes was a natural part of the learning process. Instead of giving up, I decided to embrace my errors as opportunities to learn and improve. Whenever I made a mistake, I asked for help from my teachers, friends, or language partners. They provided constructive feedback and helped me understand where I went wrong. This support was invaluable and made me realize that everyone makes mistakes when learning a new language. I also practiced self-compassion and reminded myself that learning a new language is a challenging endeavor. I celebrated small victories and progress, no matter how minor they seemed. Each step forward, no matter how small, was a testament to my hard work and perseverance. Another significant challenge was dealing with the complexity of English grammar. The numerous rules and exceptions were often confusing. To tackle this, I broke down grammar topics into manageable chunks and focused on mastering one aspect at a time. I used grammar books, online exercises, and even watched grammar tutorial videos. Over time, my understanding of grammar improved, and I felt more confident in constructing sentences correctly. Pronunciation was another area where I faced difficulties. English has many sounds that don't exist in my native language, and getting them right was a challenge. I practiced tirelessly, listening to native speakers and mimicking their speech. I used language apps with speech recognition features to get feedback on my pronunciation. Gradually, my pronunciation improved, and I became more comfortable speaking English. Time management was also a challenge. Balancing language learning with other responsibilities required discipline and organization. I created a study schedule that allowed me to dedicate specific times each day to practice English. This routine helped me stay consistent and ensured that I made steady progress. After a few months of diligent practice and overcoming challenges, I started noticing significant improvements in my English skills. One of the first major achievements was being able to hold a basic conversation in English without feeling overwhelmed. I could understand and respond to questions more confidently, and my vocabulary had expanded considerably. A significant milestone was passing an English proficiency test. I had set this as a goal early in my journey, and achieving it was a validation of my hard work. Preparing for the test involved rigorous study and practice, covering all aspects of the language: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. When I received my results, I felt a tremendous sense of accomplishment and pride. Another rewarding achievement was making friends from other countries. Through language exchange programs and online platforms, I connected with people from various parts of the world. We shared our cultures, experiences, and language learning tips. These friendships enriched my learning experience and provided real-world practice that was both fun and educational. Being able to communicate and form bonds with people from different backgrounds was a testament to how far I had come in my language journey. One of the most gratifying experiences was being able to travel and use my English skills in real-life situations. During a trip to an English-speaking country, I navigated the airport, ordered food at restaurants, asked for directions, and even engaged in casual conversations with locals. These experiences were empowering and reinforced the practical benefits of learning English. At work, my improved English skills opened up new opportunities. I was able to participate in international projects, communicate effectively with colleagues from other countries, and contribute to discussions in meetings. This not only advanced my career, but also boosted my confidence and professional growth. Reflecting on my journey, I realized that the achievements were not just about mastering a new language, but also about personal growth and resilience. Learning English taught me the value of perseverance, the importance of seeking help, and the power of small, consistent efforts. Each challenge I overcame and each milestone I reached made me stronger and more determined. My journey to learn English is ongoing, and I continue to set new goals and strive for improvement. The sense of achievement I feel is a driving force that keeps me motivated. I am proud of how far I have come and excited about where this journey will take me next. Learning a new language is a rewarding but challenging endeavor, and through my own journey, I have gathered several pieces of advice that I believe can be immensely helpful for anyone embarking on the path to mastering English. First and foremost, practice every day. Consistency is the key to success. It doesn't have to be hours of study at a time. Even dedicating 15-30 minutes daily can make a significant difference over time. Make English a part of your daily routine. Whether it's reading a short article, watching a video, or practicing speaking with a friend, regular exposure and use of the language will help reinforce what you learn and make it stick. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are an essential part of the learning process. Every error is an opportunity to learn and improve. When you make a mistake, take it in stride, learn from it, and try again. Surround yourself with supportive people who understand that making mistakes is natural and who can provide constructive feedback. Remember, everyone who has ever learned a new language has been in your shoes at some point.